research topic, so I'm into the my experience or general experiences. So I request all of you students, please listen. These steps might be useful because when we were doing BPharm, we were not this much blessed to have advanced technique or advanced knowledge or advanced experienced personals to guide us. Although our pharmacy teachers were best, but still we were limited. Our knowledge were limited, so that's why we were struggle. But you guys have a great platform in these days, especially through these kind of webinars. So please utilize it, and try to move forward in your life. As a pharmacy student from India, especially from southern India, you are all well competitive, and you are all in professional degree. So you can compete in any part of this world. So keep that in mind. So please listen following things. So what is graduate study? Which are all the studies containing thesis based convocation. They are called graduate study, like M Pharmacy and PhD mostly. Although pharmacy in India we have undergraduate project, but they are not still considered as a graduate study in the case of Western culture. So what you need to do to apply for a graduate courses in foreign country, first you need to fix your specialization. So if you are doing your M Pharmacy or you are planning to do your graduate study in for other foreign country from your BPharm, you have to start think about which specialization you're good at. So you can take that point from your curriculum marks, or you can your inner feeling will know you studied 4 year of pharmacy study, so you will know which subject you are good at it. So you can go with either pharmaceutics, pharmaceutical analysis, pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmacology, and etc. So first fix your specialization, fix your goal, and that specialization should be your lifelong specialization, especially in the foreign countries. Once you started doing your graduate studies, so your life entirely based upon that specialization. So choose your specialization very wisely and start preparing yourself. Sorry, once you finalize your specialization, you have to work towards that to make yourself ready for it. So if you are having any doubt, or if you are not good, strong enough, if you feel, then you can discuss with your peer professors, principals, and other lecturers. You can get your doubts cleared, or you can approach any other uh, foreign based researchers or experienced researchers like us. You can reach us out, and you can, hey, I have this doubt, can you please clarify me, something like that. So we are ready to help you out. So prepare yourself. Next, do research on the field of study. So once you fix your specialization, then you have to finalize, or you have to decide which field of study you are going to do. So in under pharmaceutics, again it is divided into so many categories like formulation and coating and etc. So which study you are going to focus, which research, which study you are going to focus. That's the which field of study. That's another important point. Next, prepare a brief proposal. Once you are confident to moving out, then you should start preparing a brief proposal. So whatever the research you have done here, based upon those points, you can start preparing a brief proposal to apply for a graduate study. Once you've done that, you can choose the best universities first. So start from the best, better, and good, and some go on like that. So you have to choose your university very wise. That's another important factor. Although the best universities are very highly competitive, but you should not underestimate yourself. You have to give a try. Although you may get failures, that's okay. You will get experience why you got failed. You will come to know at the end of the day. So choose the best universities. Next, once you decided, once you pick the university, once you decided university, you can check their website. You can find out which professor is suitable for you or which department is suitable for you, and you can start sending your applications to them. Finally, most importantly, you do not rely on anyone. You have to try your own. You can get guidance from everyone, but you should your own decision maker. So you can approach someone to get help, but you should not approach someone with the kind of offer. If someone says, "Hey, I have a PhD position, you can come here," something like that, please do not rely on that. Sometimes they expect some money from you, or there may be some problem, or he may get some benefit from the other side. So please don't do that. Try to be yourself. Try to be responsible for your future. So overview of researchers' life, how the foreign researchers, how the foreign research life is. As I mentioned before, it's highly competitive. Yes, it's not as simple as like our Indian system. Although Indian system, unfortunately, pharmacies we don't have much job opportunities apart from industries after B pharmacy or even M pharmacy. But foreign, it's different. Here, everything is research based, and again, it's highly competitive. You need to work smart than hard work. Yes, in India, Indian based system, we are all well theory based education, but we are not enough practical based. Luckily, pharmacy studies in India, we have better practical experiences by doing titrations, starting from the starting titrations to the in the final year formulations. You are experiencing everyday practical classes. So you're experiencing many practical experiences also. So you have to collect your hard work and make them as a smart work. So that's what you have to do in a foreign country. And yes, you will have only limited time. If you are a master student, you will have 1.5 to 2 years, and if you are a PhD, you will have 3.5 to 5 years as a max. So you are given only limited time. So you have to prove yourself. You are the best. You can bring best from your research. Definitely, you must be a multitasking person. In foreign countries, it won't work like you can do one work today and you can think about the next one tomorrow. No, you have to plan your things well ahead. You have to have a daily plan, weekly plan, monthly plan, and yearly plans. So it works in that way. So if you plan that way, you can start your multitasking steps at the same time. Especially in foreign countries, not like India. If you are moving to other city, means your college is in Srivilliputtur. If you are moving out from Chennai, you can have hostels or dormitories. You can have hotels outside. But in the foreign countries, no, it's different. There will be expensive. So for food, for making your own food, washing your clothes, everything will be a big challenge. So how you are managing your time, that's also an important, that will also come under multitasking. So you have to be fearless person. Maybe you will have some fear, society fear in India, but if you come out of the country, you will become a fearless person. That's how I experienced, that's how I learned. When I was walking in the street in Korea, one some 5-year child approached me and he asked me, "Hey, why your skin color is like brown, dark brown?" So that that 5-year kid don't have any fear. Although they know we are different from them, their race, but still they want to know what we are. That's the fearless factor. So you will become a fearless person at the end of the foreign life. You will be more independent. That's I'm damn sure. You will become a more independent person. You won't rely on anyone. So independency will make you in a good place. At the same time, it may trash you in a bad shape. So it depends upon you. The independency, how you are utilizing your freedom to become a best person is up to you. Finally, it's up to you to enjoy or stress. Like the above 6 factors, if you realize if you can able to manage those 6 factors, that will become enjoyable foreign life, or it will turn opposite way. It will become more stress and it will be difficult for you to survive, and you will. I saw many people, they just quit their master program or PhD program. They went back to India saying that, hey, the food is not good, the professor was scolding me, there are a lot of blah blah blah, something like that. So it's up to you. If you want to survive, if you want to have a better future, you must enjoy the stress and live in a foreign life. At the end of the day, you will find out who you are. So, unfortunately, I sorry to say, in India we are kind of our focus is kind of diverted by multiple sources like newspapers, cinema, cricket, politics, etc. But in the case of foreign life, you no need to worry about those factors. Those factors, government will take care of it, including your health, your scholarships and all. Your only job is just study, do research, focus on yourself. So while you're doing that, you will come to know, realize, you started realizing, oh, what I am doing, who I am, how can I improve? These things you will automatically improve. That's the beauty of a foreign life. So when during research, or while you have started your graduate studies and you started doing your research, you have to have these following steps. First, meet the hypothesis. So find out a problem. So as I mentioned before, there are cosmetic industries. They're using a lot of chemicals. So that's the problem. That's the example for a problem. So you have to find out the problem and you have to create your own hypothesis. How to solve that problem? How could What are the possible ways you can improve or you can solve the problem? Next one, you should learn new techniques. In During research, you will have more and more and more. You will sit and read, so you will learn more techniques, and eventually you will solve the challenge or solve the problem. As I mentioned in the first point, be strong in math. The world is so competitive, as I mentioned. The other countries are highly competitive. Unfortunately, our Indian students, their math level is so low, becoming so low these days. As I saw back in Korea, I was mentoring few students. I saw their maths were so worst. Unfortunately, they are not from pharmacy, but who are all from pharmacy background, they were good at math, like our dilution calculations, our percentage calculations were really helpful. That's why I am still surviving. Although I am from pharmacy background, but last 10 years I'm not doing much research on pharmacy background. So, but still I am surviving because whatever I learned in pharmaceutical sciences back in India, that's helping me till date. Next point, you need to learn data processing using different softwares. As you all know, you may use Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel to develop your thesis, but that's not enough. There are number of softwares coming day by day, so you need to learn, you need to improve your skills. And interpretation of data. So, as I mentioned before, once if it is an UV data, you need to know how to interpret the data and results. Luckily, our pharmacy system in India is very well in that. If you want to know about FDA or PX, our staffs are well enough to teach you well. So these are the skills you need to further improve in your graduate studies in foreign life. And approach for help. Sometimes it's okay or it's necessary to get a help from someone else, and you can give the help back. That way it works in the other countries. Next, other three parts are repeat the thrice minimum. So repeatability is most important factor, as you know, as you studied in pharmaceutical analysis in HPLC experiments. What's the repeatability? What the reproducibility and all? So you should repeat three times minimum to get the best results or the concordant results, as like you do the titrations. Then you need to document well whatever the thing you've done in a day. You have to note it down in your notebook, or you have to write it as a soft copy. So if after 5 or 6 years you get some doubt in that experiment, or someone is asking a doubt, you need to pull out your data and you need to ready to explain to them. So in that case, you have to name your folder clearly accordingly. That's the documentation. Yeah, and again, manage files and folders. So you have to go to a computer to do all these tasks. And collaboration. Collaboration is a vital part in the case of foreign research life. Wherever you go, which country you go, in collaboration, you cannot avoid the word collaboration. Means that you can join with another teams. Like if you are doing pharmaceutics research, you want to do some pharmacological analysis, you can discuss with pharmacology department in the other group, and you can have a collaboration. They can then later they can provide some material, and you can do some pharmaceutical analysis for their samples. In that way, the collaboration is inevitable or unavoidable in the case of research and industrial applications. Countries like Canada, they are giving more opportunity, even in Korea, giving more opportunities to the new commerce or new research development. So the industries are more supporting, industries are funding more to the researchers. So your final goal should be an industrial application. Last but not least, entrepreneurship. So just doing research, getting your thesis published, getting a convocation, getting a degree, going for a job is one way. But these days the system is different. You need to be your own boss. So in that in that where entrepreneurs play a big role. So you learned your knowledges in your B pharmacy or M pharmacy. So use those knowledges how to make that knowledge into a product. So you need to learn those skills to be an independent, successful person. So moving forward, we are going to see how to enter into Korea or what are the necessary things needed to enter into Korea. So it's purely based on your approach. So you can approach either the advertisement placed in the websites like Korean government scholarship programs. There are two or three of them, or you can directly approach to the supervisors, approaching them with your application proposal materials, asking a master or PhD program or integrated master plus PhD program. In 5 years, you will get your PhD degree with scholarship. That's the most important part. So you have to choose your scholarship, your professor wisely. So these days, less than $1,000 is not a good scholarship per month in any country. So you have to choose accordingly. So you have to sit and read, do background analysis a lot. So to get into Korea, you need to have IELTS score or English score. IELTS or GRE scores must be higher. Although uh, Korea has their own mother tongue, but still they are expecting foreign students should have the English score. You should get your apostolate degree from HRD Department of Indian Government, and you should have a recommendation letter minimum three from your undergraduate thesis advisors or your staff members to get a better position. That's where you can enter as a graduate student into Korea. So immigrating into Canada is entirely a different story. You can move to Canada as a student, worker, or permanent resident. If you want to move as a student, you have to ready to pay a tuition fee. The tuition fee is so high it cannot be covered as a foreigner here. But in Korea, the tuition fee is completely waived off if you have English score and your prerequisite is required by the universities or the government of Korea. But in the case of Canada, no. If you are a student, you will be considered or called as international student, so you cannot get a scholarship that much. If you can get a scholarship that again that will be highly competitive, and scholarship will be preferred to the Canadian citizens and permanent resident of Canada. You can come as a worker to Canada, but again, our Indian pharmacy degree is not recognized by Canadian government, so you have to give a Canadian government pharmacy exam. So that's another story. That takes at least 2 years. You have to register. You have to appear for three exams. That again costs almost two lakh Indian rupees, and that takes time. It takes at least 2 years to get a pharmacist a license here. But your salary will be good, but you have to be ready. You must have some income in those 2 years. That's again difficult job. And last one is a permanent resident. So permanent residency, you can apply and you can get it, but you must have experience, work experience. So as you here are, as you aware, as you came across, there are a lot of advertising agencies in India. They say, hey, we can get you a PR, we can get you a job in Canada, something else. Don't rely on them, believe on them. First, go to the Canadian government website called cic.gc.ca. You can get all the information, sit and read properly. You can come to know how to enter into Canada as a permanent resident. Why permanent residency is important? Once you became as a permanent resident, you will have a lot of benefits, like student fees will be waived off to $10,000 to $1,000, something like that. So there are so much advantages. You can do any job, you can do any part-time job as a international student. That's difficult to do a part-time job. So what are the requirements for permanent residency? You have to have English score, you need to have your degree evaluated, and you need to apply to the government and you will receive an invitation, and you can apply for PR with lot of document, then you will get a PR. So getting a Canadian PR is not that easy. It will take time. It will take minimum 1 to 1.5 years. So you have to plan accordingly. So the take-home message for permanent residence application is not only for a graduate student, but it can be, you can think it of later of your age, like after 3 years of your undergraduate or postgraduate degree, you can still want to come to Canada. You can think in that time. So considering all these factors, how the life is in Korea. Apart from the research life, I want to just explain how the regular or normal life in Korea is. So Korea is the number one in Bloomberg ratings, the number one in innovations. There are new products produced every day. Korea is the number one in OLED manufacturer, and Koreans just use the word fighting, means they don't give up. If they fail, they just say fighting and they will just move forward. They don't sit, they don't give up, they keep on try until they achieve. That's the one good thing we should learn from Koreans. And Korea has a beautiful four different seasons, starting from top. So spring season, you will get the trees get flowers first, then leaves. It will be beautiful. Then there is a summer season. It will be more humid and hot, like the temperatures reach up to 36 degrees, as like India. And it has fall season. The leaves of the plant change entirely into different colors. And the winter season, Korean winter season, the temperatures go around -20. That's the maximum. Yeah, this is the beautiful seasons Korea have. Korean food is most important in their life. How we Indians are giving more importance to the food, Koreans do as well. That's why India, especially Tamil culture and Korean culture, have a lot of similarities. Even more than 400 words with same meaning, same pronunciation exists between Korean language and Tamil language. So apart from that, Koreans used to eat more meat, usually pork meat, and they used to have a lot of vegetables. They just used to have only 1 cup of rice in a day. We used to have a lot of rice, but they used to have more meat. That's their typical food. Korea is safer, I say much safer than any other country in the world, as like Japan. So you can go anywhere, there will be everywhere, the CCTV cameras everywhere, and people follow the rules, and it's more safer. And Koreans try to live independent in their life, so they don't depend after 18 years, they don't depend on their parents, and up to their late 80s, they try to live alone. They try to do their everyday task by their own, so they don't depend upon anyone. Obviously, that's me. So Korea is another best country to give more importance to the physical activities. So our professors back in Korea, they encourage us to do more physical activities to avoid the stress levels. So Korea is the one place in this world to where the more marathon races happening. So they conduct races from 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 21.3 half marathon, full marathon 42 kilometers, and ultra marathon like 100, 200, 300 kilometers. So Korea is throughout the Korea there is a special track for everywhere for running, and some places there is a cycling pathway for whole highway. So that's why Korea is Koreans are so energetic. Although they used to eat a lot of meat, but they do give more importance to their physical maintenance. So physical maintenance is important to maintain our mental health. So that's why Korea is doing best in it. Sorry, I'm taking more than 1 hour, so I'm going to finish soon. So research life in Korea is timeline based. It needs to be processed quickly. You have to have accessibility, high-end techniques, and value to knowledge. These are the advantages being in Korea. And disadvantages are you will be given limited time because Korea is a kind of closed society. You will have limited exposure. It's purely publication based. If you publish your paper, you can survive it or not. You have to leave the country. Some places there is a low stipend. That's why I said you have to choose your scholarship wisely, and always there will be pressure. Life in Canada, Canadian life is so diverse. You can have variety of people in one street, I say. That's the beauty of Canada. That's why Canada is surviving. The Canadian winter is so cold. Up from starting from October, the winter lasts up to May sometimes. So the temperatures go minus negative. So you have to be careful about that. Canada is a beautiful place. It has a lot of land, so it's everywhere. Most of the places it's quiet and beautiful, and yeah, you can explore a lot in Canadian life to adopt Canadian culture. Research life in Canada, you have more independency, you have enough time, you will get more freedom of speech even. You can have high impact after completing your degree. It's a slow and steady life, and you will get a better job in the future. Everything has positive and negatives, right? So negative part of the Canadian life is slow in progress in many places slower than India. I say India is doing better in these last 5 years than Canada in many sectors. And there are sometimes the accessibility of the equipments or other facilities will be limited, and sometimes the guidance will be limited. People try to be independent, so they don't try to get annoyed by someone else in the name of guidance, and it's time consuming. Yes, the PhDs last, you cannot get degree less than 4.5 years to 5 years in Canada and even USA. Because of that, your graduation will be delayed. And the better place is, it depends upon you. No place is worst and no place is too bad in this continent. So you have to think, you have to decide, you have to analyze yourself, and you have to choose wisely. So every place is better place. It depends upon your mindset. So you have to choose it wisely. So again, me, Mohankandhasamy, I'm a senior postdoctoral researcher in Department of Chemical Engineering, University of Waterloo, and you can find me in this address, email address, and this phone number. You can find me in the Google Scholar, LinkedIn, Arcid, and Publons. And I was worked as an assistant professor in Korea last 3 years. Not last 3 years. I was working from 2015 to 2018. So that's it from me, and I would like to thank the AKCP one more time, especially Principal Sir and Brother Sir for making all the arrangements, and staff members and my dear students and other faculty members, and most importantly, the management of AKCP to providing me an opportunity to give a webinar here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kandasamy sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Really, we had a wonderful information, sir. Presentation, sir. Any question? Any question?
Any questions? So thank you, sir, for sharing your experience. So most of them they won't share their research experience, how they got, what is their role. Those things they won't share. So thank you for sharing with our students. So I had a question in your research experience.
Yes,
How much the stipend will be useful, sir,
for post
for
for
surviving, sir, for
for
surviving our day-to-day life, apart from the
for
research activities?
no, for master student or for PhD, for postdoc, there are different varieties. So to whom you're asking?
For
To post student.
PhD research.
So for a PhD student, as I mentioned, $1,000, $1,000 is the decent salary, decent scholarship. But these days, so that scholarship you can survive. You can save some 20 to 30,000 Indian rupees apart from your expenses. But these days, the scholarships are more than $1,500. So
எனக்கு
1,500
அண்ணா
is
அண்ணா
the kind of average.
ஒண்ணு ஒண்ணு ஃபுல்லாது
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 1,000 to 1,500 would be enough for survival.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Seems like students don't have any questions. I was expecting a lot of questions from student side.
Any questions?
You can ask anything. If you want to ask in Tamil also, you can go ahead, please.
Students, don't hesitate to ask. Please ask. So there is a question in the chat box.
Yeah, and
The
just
scope of PharmD in Canada by Dr. Soumya.
the same. So PharmD, B.Pharm, M.Pharm, you have to get equivalency to Canadian degree. So you have to check your Indian degree in whether that is suitable for Canadian Pharmacy Board or not. So you have to check the Canadian Pharmacy website. I don't think PharmD is uh, acceptable here. PharmD graduation from India is not acceptable here. So again, you have to start from like pre-pharm level. You have to apply for equivalency. You have to give pharmacy exam in Canada. Then you will get the pharmacy license.
Sir, whether sir, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is nanoparticles have a really commercial application in pharmaceutical field, sir?
There are the liposomes, neosomes. They are all approved by FDA, and they are being, for example, Doxil. That's a liposome-based anti-cancer drug delivery system. So they are commercially available. Yes.
Normally they are available in the high-end therapies, sir, but they are not that much commercialized, sir.
Yes. Again, they are not that much commercialized because still many of the nanoparticle research is not being explored, especially the toxicity of nanoparticles. It's not explored very well. That's why many countries still hesitate to approve the nanoparticle-based system. But there are alternative ways they have started utilizing, like as I mentioned, the photothermal therapy and those other alternative methods, they have started using nanoparticles.
So, what are the stability issues you have faced while preparing nanoparticles?
Uh, in the lab, we will have stability issues like if your surface modification is improper, they start aggregating each other over the time period, like they become a big particle. That's the first stability issue. In the case of in vivo applications, if you're injecting into a mice, and again in our body we have a lot of biomolecules starting from enzymes, etc. So they get aggregated, they get degraded as well in the body. So those are the big considerations we need to have before formulating or before modifying the surface of the nanoparticles.
So normally when we are doing nanoparticle in our lab, we are facing problem in reproducibility. So every time we are getting different results. How do we overcome those things?
So that's a kind of a typical question. Like you have to, we can reproduce, but you have to stick with the protocol. Even a small 0.01 milligram of your chemical weighing difference also will impact the nanoparticle because nanoparticles are so sensitive. So you have to maintain a standard protocol. That's why there are clean rooms available in many other labs, which are all used to fabricate electronic devices. So in that clean rooms, everything is so accurate. There won't be any dust. So those are all major factors.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from Dr. Tamil Jyoti. How to know about a postdoctoral notification and what are the quality you want to apply for postdoctoral?
So that's the good question. So if you want to apply for a postdoc, the best time to apply is immediately completing your PhD, or you know when you are going to complete your PhD at least 6 months before. So here in the foreign life, we are planning well ahead. So we are planning at least 6 months before. So if I am graduating, this is August, right? So if I am graduating in the September, I should have some plan now. So I should start applying now. So, and after your, if suppose you cannot apply that time, it's okay. After your thesis, after your defense, you will have enough time to apply for a postdoc. So, after completion of your degree, you can start immediately apply it, but you should not apply more than 3 years. So, if there is a difference between after degree completion and you started applying after 3 years, means you will not get a postdoctoral fellowship. So after completing a PhD, you should start apply immediately. If you are applying after 3 years or after 4 year or 5 year, there are very less chances to get a PhD PDF fellowship. So all the labs, they need young blood. So after most of the universities, you can check in their website, most of the universities, they used to say if in the postdoctoral fellowship application, you must be in 3 years after completion of your PhD. That's the kind of standard line they used to have.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you have been in three different regions. You have been in India, you have been in Korea, and now we are in Canada. So, how you are seeing the role of pharmacists in all three countries? Even this COVID pandemic, also the pharmacists are the unsung heroes. Their duty is not recognized. Even they are also working as like other healthcare line workers, but they are not considered as heroes. So, how you are seeing the difference between these three countries in the role of pharmacists?
Okay. So in the case of Korea, I don't know much about pharmacy or any professional degrees because Korean professional degrees are only taught in Korean. So we are not allowed. Foreigners are not. Foreigners cannot learn their pharmacy degrees and to become a pharmacist? No. As like Tamil Nadu, Koreans are giving Korean language is a kind of soul for them. So that's the other story. Yeah. So I don't know much about Korea, but in the case of Canada, yes, they are giving more importance to paramedical workers, like equal importance. But again, the doctors are given first preference here also. So in India, the importance was not given to the pharmacists or other healthcare workers. That's so unfortunate. But uh, but we don't need to care. They're just doing their duty. This is a service motto based job, so they're just doing their duties. That's it. This is what we learn, right? We no need to expect anything. This is our service. This is our duty to do the humankind, our fellow humans. In here also, they used to give some kind of recognition to the healthcare workers. Last time also, one big burger company, they came forward to give free burger as a big uh, big lunch for every healthcare workers in the hospitals in our town, in our city. So in those way they are encouraging the healthcare workers. So in Indian government, Indian people also just uh, we have to encourage our own pharmacists by doing some ceremonies, or doing some functions, or giving some gift, or giving just sending a card. In those ways, we should be encouraged in India.
Thank you, sir. So even though you have quoted the needs of a student to pursue career in foreign countries, sir. So can you again repeat what are the important criteria to be pursue their higher studies in foreign countries?
So, as I mentioned, first they need to fix their specialization, and they need to start looking. They need to do research, and they need to select professors. They need to universities first, then professors, then they start applying. Those are the initial steps. Additionally, they need to think about if you are applying for a specific professor, you need to check the professor's background, how much paper publications does he have, what are the fundings, what he have, and how good he is, what is the citation, how much citations does he have. These are the other important parameters you should consider. Just going to the some ABC lab or ABC professor, joining, completing a PhD, that won't help, because you are from pharmacy background, you are already having a professional degree. If you're going to some XYZ professor or XYZ lab, your pharmacy degree will be wasted. So don't do that. So these are the other preliminary factors you need to consider. And you can, if you are living in a perfect way, you can save better money, and you can send back to home, or you can save it for your future studies or future living as well. Those are the things you can consider.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you